On that note, this is going to take a minute, all right? Rick, we may even go past time. I don't know if you have breaks.
That's okay.
You have to hit.
We got Coach Alicia. We're good. We're good.
Tell you what, he's got another tough nut coming on that. He's got a tough nut coming on his show after us.
Hey, we'll throw Coach on with us if he gets on. Absolutely.
I can remember when he coached over at the Tech. And,
you can put him up here too.
Yeah, we'll throw Coach on. Yeah, absolutely.
He's tough nut. All right, go ahead,
so
Marty.
I asked and have continued to ask a lot of my brothers with whom I played Spartan football to sit down in solitude and ponder, and after that ponderance, detail for me what Coach Ragsdale means to them and what Spartan football under his direction was to them. And so I'm going to start today, and again, this is going to take a minute, with one of my dearest friends, somebody with whom I grew up, bled, sweat, cried, won, lost, not just games, but parents and things in this life that are so precious. Stevie Steele. Growing up as a young boy in Giles County included a variety of choices. Who do you hang out with? What sports teams do you support? Are you a sports car or jacked up truck guy? Are you a leader or are you a follower? How do you fit in with the Parisburg Townies when you grew up on a farm in Newport? Do you believe wrestling is real? And the list goes on and on. One thing that was not a choice was whether or not you played football. Texas probably has the corner on big football, but Giles County's not far behind. We started in the 4th grade in the local Little League dynasty, full contact with helmets that didn't fit and cleats selected from a box of hand-me-downs that were left from a group of kids that came before us. The coaches picked all the kids up along the way to the practice field, as many parents were working late shifts at the local Celanese plant or simply trying to keep the lights on. We learned early that this was a way of life. And the stories of Spartan football glory that we heard as children quickly quieted any doubt or fear that tried to sneak in on our way to each practice. At the root of the Giles football dynasty was a man named Steve Ragsdale. I first heard his name as a 5-year-old child from both uncles, Philip Steele and Mo Ratcliffe. They were a perfect example of how beautifully unbiased the Ragsdale Spartan football program was. One uncle was from Curve Road, the rough part of town, and was not to be messed with. He'd go on to be an Army paratrooper and come home to work at the local lime plant. The other was more refined and softer, studious, and would later become a lawyer and work as the local Commonwealth's attorney for Giles County. Both spoke of Coach as the single most influential person in their entire lives. As a young boy, every story and experience with my uncles included a story about Ragsdale. My dad was a Little League coach for the eastern part of the county. We started on our way to practice from the Craig County line each afternoon and began picking up kids all the way to the practice field in Pembroke. We rode in the back of a truck and told stories, laughed, and lied about the girls we allegedly kissed. What we didn't talk about was our parents. Rich or poor, fancy house or trailer, banker or janitor, none of that mattered. The one thing that brought us all together on equal ground was that we were all future Spartan football players. We all knew someone in our life that was a Spartan star, and they all came from every walk of life. We all knew that no one in that truck had any better chance than the other based on our home life. This was the heartbeat of the Spartan football program. The tougher the home life, the better. As I worked my way up through the program, I only saw Coach a few times in Little League. He was always in the press box for every Little League game, watching his next group of bandana boys grow and learn. I never really appreciated it until later in life when I realized that he'd already taught math all day, coached, and watched film before spending 3 hours watching kids hug on each other and run around in slow motion. He was all in and had a full program in place that would prove to be successful for decades and decades. I worked my way up through the ranks and was lucky enough to be tapped as a varsity football player in the 10th grade. That's an honor. I soon learned that Coach was the scariest person on earth. He demanded your best and literally foamed at the mouth with fury when you didn't give 100%. He never expected more than you could give, but he always knew when you were not giving all. Every kid had a different skill level, but effort was his gauge. I played in the secondary as a 10th grader. All of the other players were tight, and I was a new kid on the block. We had real two-a-days back then, which included a 3-hour practice in the morning and a 3-hour practice in the afternoon. We got 2 hours for lunch, and I had to beg for a ride to Dairy Queen, and that was successful only every other day. We got a water break before and after each practice and once in the middle. You knew you had to fill up at each water break, which resulted in a distended stomach full of water sloshing around as you ran back to that asphalt practice field. No offense, Coach. It was asphalt. That asphalt practice field, half of us puked up the water before we ever made it back. It was always the same players. Coach orchestrated a practice that was equal to the training that Navy SEALs endure. He pushed us to the brink of exhaustion and then pushed us a bit further, knowing that at some point we would need the grit that he was developing. As I developed into a young man, Coach was developing the core that would carry me through many trials and tribulations in this life. The following are things that molded me into the person that I am today. At the end of each practice, Coach always had us kneel in the practice asphalt end zone. I love that he keeps calling it asphalt. And he would talk to us like men. He always told us to keep our noses clean, stay away from things that would get us hurt, and to eat good food. I remember him telling us that his mother was getting older and had just had a hip replacement. He told us that life would not always be easy and that we'd lose people we love and that would be okay. I've never forgotten that, and he was right. Coach was the best math teacher I ever had. He taught in a way all the kids could learn and never left anyone behind as long as you were giving your all. I'm a civil engineer today because of him, and I've been able to raise and support my family because of what he taught me in the classroom and on the field. We only lost to Naras once in my career. It was at Naras, and as we were leaving on the bus, he told us, never forget the way this feels. That we had the feeling we had at that moment, and to use that to make sure that, by God, we never felt it again. We didn't lose again to them for 10 years. Might want to fact check that, Martin, but I'm pretty sure it was a long, long time. A couple more things here. My father thought Coach should have been playing me in a different position. He came in the locker room and walked into Coach's office before practice one day. I knew I was getting ready to get kicked off the team or run laps until I died. Coach told my father to get out of his office and stay out of his business. I had never heard anyone talk about him that way, that being Mr. Steele. Coach never treated me any differently or said a word about it, ever. Let me see. There's all kinds of stuff here, but I want to find the one. Coach was the hardest working person I have ever known. He taught by example and poured everything he had into the program. His wife and daughters graciously shared him with us. His wife was and is a very attractive lady. I have to tread lightly on this story, but it's a damn good one. During one of our few water breaks, we were all loading up the stomachs with water, and the track is in plain view from the watering hole. We noticed a good-looking female walking on the track, and began whistling and carrying on at this young hottie. She turned around and waved with a real big smile. It was Coach's wife. We all knew that was our last day on earth. We never heard anything about it. A couple years ago, my Uncle Mo lost his fight with addiction and took his own life. Coach came to the funeral service and was inconsolable. He told me that all of us would always be his children. He was and is the father that many of us never had or that most of us needed. That strength that we needed, the teacher of math and of life, the consistency and love that many of us longed for. And finally, in the end, we learned a valuable life lesson from Coach. Monday through Thursday, we beat the absolute hell out of each other on the field, double teaming and crushing each other, bloody elbows and knees, infected from the poisonous asphalt practice field. We had concussions, broken fingers, and a lot of tears. When Friday night lights came on, the other teams that had been prancing around in shorts never knew what hit them. We were tuned up, mean, and ready to destroy. We put in the work, and the rest took care of itself. We are the Spartan men.